What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Draft Boys. Last week, we did the best offseason moves. This week, we are going to be doing the worst offseason moves. Babiak, we'll start with you. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
In need of a comeback here.
Yeah. Not a great
Bad
performance by
performance
Babiak
time.
last week. Magani, how are we doing?
I feel good. I came up short, but I like the team we drafted, so we're going to stick with it this time.
Yeah, last week on the Instagram, Magani won at 45% of the vote. I got second place at 43% of the vote. Babiak all the way down to 12%. Over on YouTube, though, I won 61% of the vote. Magani 30%, Babiak 9%. Going forward, it used to be 66% YouTube, 34% Instagram. We're actually going to flip that to 60% YouTube, 40% Instagram to kind of don't be biased towards me is basically what I'm saying. Do not vote it just because it's my own channel. So yeah, YouTube's still going to matter more. I won. I am now at 7 wins all time. Babiak at 3. Magani also at 3. So yeah, we're doing basically the exact same thing, but the flip side. And when looking at it last time, we did 2026 extensions. That's not going to be on this one just because like most of the 2026 extensions outside of like the Thatcher Demko one has some risk. Like a lot of the extensions are pretty good. So yeah, we're going to be doing the best draft pick, the best trade, the best 2025 UFA re-signing, the best 2025 signing, and then the best general manager or head coaching hiring. Babiak came in last week. He decided to select first overall, Magani second overall, and me third overall. Snake draft. Babiak, take us away. Your first pick.
All right. A lot of pressure for my first pick, especially after last week's bad performance. So I wanted to hit the books and really study hard on this one. I've actually been reading about the U.S. capturing Osama bin Laden. Looming Tower, good book. I think this is very relevant for L.A. Kings fans now that you guys are stuck with Ken Holland as GM. Easy first pick here. We're going to talk about a lot of moves that are bad money value or won't make their teams better. The Ken Holland hiring is the only move anyone made this offseason that will damage a right now, win now playoff team for years to come. The LA Kings will be knocked out of serious contention for years. It will take years after Ken Holland is fired for them to recover this.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can't disagree. He was my clear number one in terms of the head coach and general manager hiring, just considering what he did at the end of Detroit, what he did in Edmonton, and what he's already doing in LA. Like it's already begun with another move.
How many Ken Holland moves will people be drafting during this episode? I have at least 2 on my board.
All right, Magani, you're up.
I like that. I like the comparison though. That's interesting. All right. I'm going to go with UFA RFA signing. I'm going to go with Kevin Ball, 6 years, $5.35 million. I just think it's a bit of an overpay for a defenseman who's, he's not like terrible, but I just think there's a lot of guys out there who are replacement level like him that you could probably got for cheaper. So I'm going to go that way.
Yeah, it is tough. One okay to good season, and you got that much money. Wouldn't have personally been my pick. Babiak, what do you think about that one?
He's overpaid based on a lack of production, but there are worse defensemen who signed at about equal money.
Yeah, okay. And speaking of a defenseman that got absolutely paid, I'm going to be going with my first pick, Ivan Provorov, 7 years, $8.5 million. With looking at this, yes, he does play big minutes for Columbus. No, he doesn't perform very good in those minutes. He's a guy that I thought was going to get like 7x7, 7.25. And even then, I'd probably say it was a pretty stinky contract by the end. The fact that he got $8.5 million, it's just gross. It's going to probably quickly become like their equivalent of the Darnell Nurse deal, especially for Columbus that's not even entering their contention window. I could understand a team that's like win now the next 3 to 4 years doing this. It's just absolute shit. And it doesn't even make sense that much considering they have Matejchuk coming up as well as Jackson Smith now. So going forward, I just think that this is going to be a disaster of a deal. No pushback on that.
No,
I think
it's a good choice.
Yeah, harsh, but I don't like Columbus signing it either.
Yeah,
they're in the wrong situation timeline wise to be giving that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it just makes it worse. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that tough situation where like they couldn't trade him during the season because they were having this magical run with Johnny Gaudreau after Johnny Gaudreau passed away. but you just should have let him walk. Like what is this is going to become a problem
And
towards the end. And
then
for
you're
my second
handcuffed.
pick,
Yeah.
for my second pick, I think I'm going to go with Jack Nesbitt at 12th overall in the draft. This just absolutely blew my mind, especially considering the fact that Philadelphia traded the 22nd and 31st overall picks to get him. He probably would have been available there at 22nd, maybe even at 31st. Yeah, he was a consensus like late first, early second kind of guy. Yes, I understand that they needed a center, but there was just so much talent ahead of him and guys like Carter Bear that went 13th overall. Jackson Smith, Eklund, Coots, Carbonneau, where I don't even think that you can justify, oh, he's a center. They needed a center. It's not like he even was the next best center remaining. I did not like this one bit for Philadelphia, and I think basically everybody across the board, when they traded up, we did not expect Jack Nesbitt to go there. If he works on his skating, if his skating massively improves, which they also got to worry about with Porter Martone, he can maybe be something, but this was a huge risk. The skill isn't there like a Porter Martone to justify him all the way up at number 12.
I'm not going to defend the pick as being a good draft pick, but I do think it being the second Flyers pick of the round takes away a lot of the potential sting.
That is fair. Yeah, I'm just looking at 12th overall, who is still on the board, where Nesbitt was mocked. It's pretty gross. Like it is pretty gross in my opinion. I know some people might not have that as their worst pick. I can imagine one that's going to go relatively soon, but I think Nesbitt is even worse than that one. Magani, you're up.
So I'm actually going to go with my worst trade. And I know for the best trade, I did Peterka for, that's what I did for best trade. But I don't want to just flip it. So I'm just going to do another one that I thought was pretty bad on one end. So I'm going to do Morrow and a first and a second for Keandre Miller. I just think it's
the Carolina perspective, I assume.
Yeah, from the Carolina perspective, I just think it's a lot of it's just a ton of value to give up for Miller, who you're just hoping you can work into your system and make him live up to his ceiling, because his last two seasons, especially when not paired with Fox, has just been like pretty garbage. So it just felt like a lot of value to give up.
Yeah, I don't think Babiak's cat liked that pick that much. But when looking at it, yeah, I think it's weird. Like the offer sheet, if they offer sheet him that contract, I think they would have only had to give up like a first or something like that. To throw in Scott Morrow on top of that, who is one of the better right-handed defenseman prospects in hockey, makes it a bit of an overpayment in my opinion. I still think Miller's going to be the best player to come out of that trade. So I don't know if I would have it as like the worst, but it's a solid pick. Babiak, you for 2.
All right. First pick. I love that he fell this far. Brady Martin, 5th overall.
I assumed you were going.
What are we doing here? Well, Sam Bennett is the best player in the National Hockey League, so let's draft the guy who looks the most like Sam Bennett in a police lineup. Not based on actual like production or anything, just like he appears to have the physical characteristics of Sam Bennett. So I'm. Yeah, you go. I'm
a little like here. I wasn't that high on Brady Martin, but I definitely think that it is an egregious reach. Just because if you're Nashville, you needed the more skill guys in Hagens and Martone.
Hagens and Martone were both on the board,
right?
Yeah, like Martin, I can understand if they already had some disgusting wingers. They already had a number 1 center in the wings. I could maybe understand that, but yeah, with Hagens, with Martone, with Desnoyers, who I liked a lot, it was gross.
All right. So I feel good about that pick. And then my second, you know how you do that thing sometimes in fantasy hockey where you draft like Barkov round 1, Makachuk round 2, try and stack your points? After grabbing Ken Holland GM first round, I'm looking at UFA deal signed, and Cody Ceci stands out as the worst. Cody Ceci sucks at hockey. He's not good. He's just a bad player, straight up a bad player. Brought him in for 4 years. They committed 4 years to a guy who right now is like a fringe bottom pair player in his 30s. What's the vision there? $4.5 million. $4.5 million when you're going to need to sign Brand Clark to a big extension, unless your plan is to only give Brand Clark 12 minutes a night again because you signed Tony Ceci. Yeah, which maybe they will. Who even knows?
Brand Clark's. He's playing Galaxy Brain. He's going to sign Brand Clark to like a 7-year deal at $4 million after he barely plays him because Cody Cece's going to play the entire time. Yeah, I can't hate on you for that. That's just egregious. The fact that he did it in Edmonton as well. Gave him a 4-year deal at 3.25. It's like, I want sloppy seconds on that. Give it to me again.
And then Edmonton was hating on them ever since. So it's like,
yeah,
it's like a Cody Cece meme train.
Mm-hmm. He's a Cody Cece fetish. Magani, you're up.
So I'm gonna go with Lane Lambert as head coach of Seattle. And the reason I'm doing this is I just feel like it was such a just an uninspiring hiring for a Seattle team that should have like a little bit of expectations going into the year. You wanted a little more of an inspiring hiring, and you just get like Lane Lambert. It's like, all right, okay, like it doesn't make me excited for them. So I just think it's pretty mediocre, pretty bad to mediocre for that reason.
Yeah, they're basically like the New York Islanders 2 years ago, minus the franchise goaltenders. So it's like
Right.
you don't even have the goaltending that you can potentially fall back on, where it's going to be. I don't expect anything from Lane Lambert in Seattle. Babiak, any thoughts on it?
Honestly, no. I don't know how you have any thoughts about Lane Lambert as a coach. He accomplished nothing with the Islanders. My only thought, frankly, is that Seattle was being kind of ridiculous for firing a head coach in the first place, a head coach who has got decent development out of Shane Wright, out of Capo Caco. Are you punishing the coaching staff for not making the playoffs? That's your fault for expecting the playoffs with the team you built for him.
It's always a
You overpaid Chandler Stevenson and said, here, go make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's definitely fair, and I might be taking the other Seattle hiring relatively soon. Not right now, though. I'm going with the trade. I'm going with the Gavin Brindley trade in terms of the Columbus perspective. Babiak, we talked about it in this podcast. You could maybe sell me on trading for Charlie Coyle and giving up a second-round pick if you're Columbus, if you need a third-line center, if you need a veteran forward. But then the second part of this, giving up Gavin Brindley and a third-round pick for Miles Woods, 4 years at $2.5 billion, just makes absolutely no sense. And I understand that Brindley, maybe after that first season in the AHL, they have a bunch of young forwards that are ahead of him, like makes him somewhat expendable. But in terms of just pure value, getting Coyle, especially in Colorado's situation where they didn't really value Coyle that much at $5.25 million. And the Wood deal is 4 years, 2.5. And he just stinks. He's just an AHLer at this point. So that's a deal. That's the one deal I think that just does not make sense for either parties. And going back to Columbus with the Provorov, like, they're not a Charlie Coyle away from doing any damage come playoff time. What's the plan with that? Are they going to re-sign Charlie Coyle on some kind of 4-year deal at $5.5 million this time next offseason? Maybe we're doing a draft on it, like throwing that deal in as well. Like, I just don't really get the vision from Columbus going win now. I understand it was a magical season and they almost made it, but most of the numbers will tell you that season was a little bit of fluky per se. They're going to have internal growth, but yeah, just a really confusing deal. Bad asset management, bad cap management overall.
Agreed. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, there's really nothing else to say. I can't really disagree with it.
I think I'm going to pick another one that is not very controversial and not have to be explained. You guys will be arguing against it. I'm going to go for my 2025 UFA signing. I'm going to go with Tanner Janot, 5 years, $3.4 million. Had that rookie season, 24 goals, 17 assists, 41 points. Since then, 18 goal, 8 assists, 18-point pace in 82 games the last couple years. I don't know, similar to Cody Cece, I don't know what Kool-Aid like GMs are slurping with Tanner Janot, getting traded for a first or a fifth round pick, and somehow going to go second and a fourth at last year's draft. Just wild to give him, like, I think it was Pete Blackburn on What Chaos said, like, you can either term him or over AAV him. Like, if they give him a 5-year deal, but it's only $2.25 million, wouldn't kill them. Or if it was a 2-year deal at 4.5, like, it wouldn't be the end of the world. The fact that it's both an overterm, both an overpayment for a guy that's just an okay fourth liner at this point just sucks.
It's not to mention a team who, like, they need more than just Tanner Janot, and they're giving out that contract. So
they got rid of Brad Marchand and brought in the aggregate of Arvidsson and Janot for like the same price. For I know that I don't know if he would have signed the same contract in Boston, but like, yeah, what is that total? No, it's even more. It's $7.4 million, I think. Like, it's brutal.
They're trying to big brain it, but really it's just like
Moneyball, Billy Bean.
Yeah, exactly.
Don Sweeney, it's not Billy Bean.
Yeah, no matter how hard I try. So that was going to be my pick. So I'll just defer to probably what I had next on the UFA list. I'm just gonna go with Ryan Lindgren 4 by 4.5. I mean, he's one of like the worst analytical defensemen in the league, and it's been that way for a couple seasons now. So to see him get that deal, I mean, he wasn't good in Colorado either. So to see him get that deal where 4 years is not great term, and then 4.5 is not, it's too much money too. So all around, I think it's a bad contract.
Yeah, he's like a 26, 27 years old. That's like, and his body's already broken down from like so many injuries.
Yeah.
And like the fact that he's so bad analytically, playing alongside Adam Fox for like 40% of the time is honestly impressive. Babiak, your final two.
Yeah, I just want to say Ryan Lindgren also just is not good at hockey. Like some of the guys we're discussing here were significantly overpaid or overtermed.
Right.
Don't like the contracts. Then you have a whole nother class of players like a Ryan Lindgren, like a Cody Ceci, like a Miles Wood, who just straight up like these are not NHL level talents on a team that's trying to win games. They're just not.
Definitely fair.
That being said, I was doing strategy with this draft because the way you guys drafted, I realized I could wait until the very end for this category and still end up taking Trent Frederick. Trent Frederick and his 8-year contract. 8 years for a fourth liner.
I don't think it's that bad. I don't hate it. I don't
what
hate
did
it as
Trent
much.
Frederick do in Edmonton to make you think it's not that bad?
He was dealing with an injury. 18 goals, 22 assists the year prior. 27 years old.
8 years is 8 years.
I'm not saying I like it, but like
8 years.
Compared to a Provorov, $8.5 billion and even older, I still think it's bad. Like I'm not giving it like a B+, but I don't think it's some like surefire like draft winner that we overlook.
I think that it's, in terms of raw dollar overpayment, maybe not the worst contract. But if we look at this as a category, which contract signed this summer is most likely to be bought out before it finishes? Trent Frederick is winning that one easily.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that contract was made to be bought out 5 years from now.
I think I would rather have Frederick at that than Jeannot at 5 by 3.4. Frederick, at least the success was a lot more recent.
I don't know.
Jeannot was like 2021 was when he had that good season or whatever. 2022, I think. Frederick last year.
It's just bad all the way around, but at least, I don't know. Jeannot's is done quicker.
Well, yeah, we're talking about different levels of that still. And then, your last one.
So I need a trade for my last pick, right?
I believe so, yeah.
I'm really struggling with this one.
I am struggling because the Jordan Spence trade was awful, but I don't know if I want to triple down on Ken Holland's disaster class.
Yeah, there should be.
Might not be the most tactical move.
Okay. So in that case, I'll say Anaheim trading Gibson for just a monstrosity here. We should factor in when we talk about this the fact that this is the second goalie that Anaheim acquired from Detroit in the last 6 months.
I almost did the Husso
on the podcast. That's where I came at it from the angle of because you traded John Gibson because you need to clear space, pay Lucas Dostal, right? That's fine. Except the Ducks already traded for Husso like 4 months ago. So now
you gave him a 2 by 2.2.
Yeah, instead of getting any real assets for John Gibson, you got 2 worse backup goalies than John Gibson who are collectively getting paid the same amount as John Gibson. Rounded to the nearest $100,000, the payment on Anaheim's number 2 and number 3 next season is the same as John Gibson.
They did get a second and fourth, but yeah, like I remember you told me on the podcast, like his cap hit was 4.25, and I was like, I'd like double check. I was like, what the fuck? Like that is brutal for a guy that had an 891 last season.
Yeah, so like taking that cap hit off of Detroit's hands should have been worth a second pick, second round pick, right?
Yeah, it was basically like them getting giving up a fourth for Gibson or something like that. So yeah, from that angle,
like
the way you described it,
the only option you could get for Gibson was getting worse backup goalies for the same. You're not saving any money. Your only real asset's a second round pick. at that point, just keep Gibson as your backup goalie. There's no reason to trade him.
Yeah, Gibson does have 2 years versus Mrazek's 1, but yeah, I definitely agree that was a little bit underwhelming of a deal, just considering what they were taking back. Magani, your final pick.
Yeah, so I have to do a draft pick. I'm just gonna go with the Penguins taking Kindle. It just feels like the Penguins have one of the worst pools in the NHL, and you kind of wanted them to maybe just take someone more of a surefire bet. I mean, at this point, it's really hard to determine draft picks and their capabilities, but yeah, I just feel like that left on the board was probably the worst one.
Yeah, I think that might have been my pick as well. I didn't hate Kindle, but like when the way that it crumbled, like Eklund, Bear, bunch of guys still available, like around that range, where it was like, what? Like you could have got similarly to Nesbitt at 12, you could have traded back and still probably got Kindle at like 20th overall.
It's just, they wanted that guy.
I don't like how Dubas handled the first round of this draft at all.
I almost went with Horkoff as well if I wasn't able to get Nesbitt.
Yeah, it's another bad pick. Dubas blew the first round.
And then I'm finishing it off with my head coach / GM. I alluded to it before. I'm taking Jason Botterill as a Seattle general manager. This guy was the Sabres general manager from 2017 to 2020. So basically was responsible for like ruining the Eichel, Reinhart, Dahlin, like basically put the cracks in the team then. And then, since 2021, he's been learning and basically has been second fiddle on every single decision with Ron Francis, who has probably been a bottom 3 general manager the last 2 years. I think we could agree on that. So I know it is like a promotion. It's not like they went out and got somebody, but yeah, to bring in Botterill to now be the general manager, yikes, man. That is not encouraging. A Lane Lambert Botterill ticket does not win elections.
Poor Seattle, man. Those fans.
At least they didn't make it. Well, actually, they did sign Lindgren, but no like 7-year deals this offseason.
Right.
Compared. But yeah,
not
Botterill.
Compared to last offseason when they signed an awful contract.
Yes. That Stevenson's worse than Lindgren, though. But yeah, Botterill does not inspire too much confidence in me given his track record going forward. But here's the full draft. For Magani, Ben Kindle at 11th, the Miller trade from the Carolina Hurricanes perspective, Kevin Ball, 6 years, $5.35 million. Lindgren, 4 years, 4.5. Lane Lambert as the head coaching hire. For me, Jack Nesbitt, 12th overall. The Brindley trade from the Columbus Blue Jackets perspective, the Provorov 7-year deal at $8.5 million. Tanner Jeannot's 5x3, Botterill being hired as Seattle's general manager, and then Babiak, Brady Martin, 5th overall. Gibson from the Ducks perspective. Frederick, 8 years, 3.85. CC, 4x4.5. And Ken Holland hired as general manager. All right, so let us know on the YouTube. Go to the post section. We'll have the poll up there. Vote. Don't vote just because it's my page. Vote whoever you actually think won this draft. Babiak's cat's making a full appearance now. We've been here in all episode.
Vote for my cat. He's been yapping enough about some of these picks.
Thank you, boys, for joining me as always. Please go vote. Suggest. We're thinking about maybe doing 2010s players next week. Let us know if that's something that you guys want to see us do. If not, suggest other things. And we'll be seeing you in the next one. Any final words, boys?
No, it was a lot of fun.
I think I'm going to win this one. I feel okay.
People hate Holland. Okay. Holland's definitely going to be the most universally, in terms of head coaching.
They should. What is there to like? What is there to like?
Those are usually the final last words, though. Then we see 60% from Mike. So
Babiak at 7%. All right, we'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.